should mention that Dennis Merrington was the first president of Orch. Dennis is a general practitioner, still in private practice, active practice. I remember you from the 70s. And you know, they say there are 3 stages of life. There's childhood, middle age, and you're looking wonderful. You're looking wonderful. Will you come and tell us about those early years? Thank you.
Thank you, one and all. Yes, indeed, Minister and distinguished guests. And of course, distinguished guests, everyone here. I saw a patient the other day and I said, "How old are you?" And he said, "I'm approaching 70. And I said, "But from which direction?" My wife tells me I'm going to get into real trouble with that. We had our first meeting in February '73, and it emerged from a group who gathered in late '72 to attend a conference on children in hospital. And here we were, a disparate group of 12 people, each one wondering, what on earth have we got ourselves into? This group, looking back, was an extraordinary group. They actually were caring, they were cooperative, they were visionary, but they had some other quality as well. They were fearless. And that's something which is a bit unusual in a political circle, I think. They were totally fearless. And we worked together very harmoniously, not always, but usually harmoniously. And as a result, newspapers would sometimes say, with our outspokenness, oh, and they ruffled a few feathers and so on. In fact, a few months later, I was visited in my surgery by a police officer. And that's an arresting statement, isn't it? He came along with a bundle of papers, and I groaned. And he said, "Don't worry, we just want you to fill these in for this new group that started." He said, "Don't worry, you'll only have to do it once. These groups never last more than a year." And I was really hoping he might be here tonight. As we went on, it's hard to pick out certain key stages. As we went on, we decided to try and form a healthcare policy for children and their families. And we thought it would be best to get 4 people who represented different disciplines. And there was a physiotherapist, a childcare worker, a GP, and a psychologist, a psychiatrist. And we met for many, many weekends in a row. And we, if I could say, we distilled the essence of the wisdom of these people. And a document was produced, and we thought we should try and get the Medical Journal of Australia to publish this. And indeed, that one afternoon I had this document, this draft document, in an envelope on my desk. And I was about to go and see the editor of the Medical Journal. In walked a patient, a lady called Rosemary Marriott, who some of you may remember as being involved with the Merrymakers, some Down syndrome children dance group. But she had another claim to fame, and that was that she was called Australia's leading clairvoyant. Okay, stick with me. She'd been on the David Frost program and so on. And she came into my room and she said, "What is that?" pointing to this document on my desk. And I said, "Oh, that's something which we might get published." She said, "That will go far." And she said it again. She said, "That will go very far." And indeed, she was correct. It did go very far, in the right circles and so on. Anyway, when I went to see this editor, he was at first dismissive, and then he said, "I think we can do something with this." And as a result, it had the imprimatur, if you like, of the Australian Medical Association. Not that that exceeds all other judgments, but it was something that guaranteed its distribution throughout a whole range of areas. And that was the success of it. It was sent to hospitals, nurse groups, you name it, educational groups. And in fact, even, I believe, there were 10 European countries who subsequently incorporated this policy document for their policy to do with children in hospitals. So they must have thought at the time. I quote one paragraph. Was it in time? That's all right. I've been briefed. This was a letter written in February '77 by Anne McKenna, and she was the editor of the International Journal of Early Childhood. And she said, "Thank you for sending a copy of the special supplement of the Medical Journal of Australia containing this policy. May I congratulate Orch on a magnificent humane document which deserves to become the hospitalised child's charter. Then she says, it is the first document of its kind that has been published, being comprehensive, humane, and totally free of any special pleading on behalf of one professional group. And I think that's the essence of that document. It was humane and it was covering a whole spectrum of needs. I have to acknowledge it's a few people here. Doris Hart, you know, Doris, without her pioneering enthusiasm, Orch wouldn't have got off the ground, and none of us would have been here tonight. There are some other pillars, Sylvia Rapley, two Beths, I'm not going to try and go through all the names. There are many folk involved, and the contribution they made was essential and dynamic, and caring. This is a quality that kept coming through. My final comment is to Anne Cutler. Thank you for having this evening. It was an inspiration. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. That was really beautiful.